Never have toffee before you go live.
Toffee or coffee?
Toffee. Evening, Gillian.
Toffee or alcohol?
Evening, everybody joining.
Hello.
We hope everybody is well.
Calm down.
Calm down, calm down. Gillian says she's not missing it, but I don't know if Gillian's on.
There's 3 people on. 3. Doubled as view count.
I've been eating my favourite ever chocolates. Hey, Gillian.
But she will if she's on Facebook now.
I've eaten them all.
You didn't save me one?
No, they're my favourite. Them toffees. I've just had full.
Hey, soldier, mate.
How are you feeling, okay, soldier? So yeah, been eating a full box of them. Hey, Yo-Yo. All set for Saturday, Yo-Yo. Can be at yours for about 5:30.
6. Oh, 5, 6.
Hey, Tracy. How are you all this evening? Hey, Dubs. Hope you're well. Don't forget, guys, please share. Could stay at air tonight.
Oh, man's a right mess.
I know. I've not straightened it or nothing. So it's all dried. Shouldn't have colour on. So.
You washed it this year, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Us too, Yo-Yo. Us too. Store of thanks, Bob, getting bed during the night. I hope so.
Good to hear, soldier. Not good to hear. You're still rough. Good to hear you're getting better.
Now Carol's on sort of on men now, so that's good. So
You want bourbon?
Hey Debbie, no, can I be?
Hang on.
Hey
Santa's got
Diane.
it all.
I might have a cider.
There's only got 2 left.
And
Just telling it.
I've got 2.5.
No, you've got 2.
No, 2.5.
No, you've got 2.
Hey Jules, good evening. Second term, lucky tablet keeps acting up. Oh. I hate it when things start acting up. Hopefully you get it sorted, Butts. Both looking well tonight. Thank you very much, soldier.
I think he needs glasses.
He does need glasses. So tonight we are
rough as a Sasquatch ass.
Evening, John.
See, I'm
Welcome to our ETA family.
Keeping it all to do with topic.
Yeah, you are.
Keeping it relevant.
So tonight we're going to be discussing. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Mimi. So welcome to all new that are joining our ETA family this evening. And tonight's topic is cryptozoology. So that's what we're going to be reading about. So we have got all the paperwork in front of us and what we're going to be reading off. So, yeah. So just to update, I will be live in the morning around about 9:30 doing some tarot readings, free 1-card readings, but you can book in if you want to for a full reading.
I could go for a nap and leave you to us.
Friday night, Thursday. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow night.
I
don't know what I'm doing tomorrow night, but we will let you know. Hey, Judith. So, who knows what cryptozoology is? And if you do,
because you can't pronounce it.
No, we've not frozen. Refresh if anybody's freezing. So, what is cryptozoology? It's a study of cryptids, animals which may or may not exist. These creatures show up in many centuries, old stories and legends. I don't know, Julian, we can't see as it don't show on screen. That's why I always say thank you afterwards, sweets. In many cases, people still report sightings today. Good morning, Mr. Lily. Hey, Beth.
Ooh, that's interesting. Jules.
Joined the members live yesterday, John. The first pub near the Royal Hospital is now co-op and only one I've not been in.
Was the one in the shambles.
Wow. Hey, Kelly. People who study cryptozoology are called cryptozoologists.
That's what it said. Do you know?
It's a bit obvious. Hey, Tanya. Their goal is to find out whether cryptids are real. They do so by looking at the evidence. This often includes both eyewitness stories and fossils. They may also take part in archaeology digs and a study of history of geology. Maybe you've heard stories of Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, with sightings across North America. This is one cryptid that's difficult to ignore. Much of the evidence for the existence of Bigfoot has been deemed a fake. However, people report new encounters each year. People in Nepal, India, and China report other cryptid called the Yeti. It's also called the abominable snowman, if it exists. The Yeti has always outrun photographers. However, strange tracks in the Himalayas cause many to think the Yeti is a real animal. Of course, any mention of cryptozoology would be incomplete without the Loch Ness monster, also called Nessie. It may be the world's most famous cryptid. In fact, Scotland receives around $83 million per year from tourists hoping to see the creature. I will be one of them soon. Another example is Chupacabra, the cryptid rumours to live in Puerto Rico and Mexico, reminds some of the mythical vampires. That's because it's said to drink the blood of livestock. Chupacabra reported favourite snacks is goats. Could any of these cryptids be real? Many people are sceptical. However, others say that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Could a creature like Bigfoot or Nessie be found in the wild? It wouldn't be the first time a cryptid turned out to be a real animal. Which real animal used to be a cryptid? The Komodo dragon, platypus, and octopi are all examples. So is the giant squid, which could have been the inspiration behind Tales of the Kraken. Scientists first photographed the giant squid in 2004. They actually found the chupacabra. I believe somebody found something, didn't they, Beth?
Basically, what they're saying is cryptids, we don't know if they exist, but
I believe
certain things were known as cryptids and have been found to be real. Maybe not exactly as they were described, but... So...
Your bit.
Yeah, my bit, because it's got all odd names in it.
I'm clever.
We're doing cryptids, and you can't even say cryptozoology.
Cryptozoology. Cryptids, cryptoids.
As a field, cryptozoology originates from the works of Bernard Heuvelmans, a Belgian zoologist, and Ivan T. Sanderson, a Scottish zoologist. Notably, Heuvelmans published On the Track of the Unknown Animals in 1955, a landmark work among cryptozoologists that was followed by numerous other works. Similarly, Sanderson published a series of books that assisted in developing hallmarks of cryptozoology, including Abominable Snowman Legend Come to Life in 1961. The term cryptozoology dates from 1959 or before. Heuvelmans attributes the coinage of the term cryptozoology, the study of hidden animals, from the ancient Greek kryptos, meaning hidden or secret, zoion, animal, and logos, knowledge or study. I don't even know what that's about. Partnered?
Painted. I don't know.
The term cryptid was coined. The term cryptid was coined in 1983 by cryptozoologist J.E. Wall in the summer issue of the International Society of Cryptozoology newsletter. According to Wall, it has been suggested that new terms be coined to replace sensational and often misleading terms like monster. My suggestion is cryptid, meaning a living thing having the quality of being hidden or unknown. Describing these creatures, which are subject of cryptozoological investigation, the Oxford English Dictionary defines the noun cryptid as an animal whose existence or survival to the present day is disputed or unsubstantiated, any animal of interest to a cryptozoologist. While used by most cryptozoologists, the term cryptid is not used by academic zoologists. In the textbooks aimed at undergraduate academics, Caleb W. Lack and Jacques Rousseau note that the subculture's focus on what it deems to be cryptids is a pseudoscientific extension of older belief in monsters and other similar entities from folklore record, yet with a new, more scientific-sounding name, cryptids. While biologists regularly identify new species, cryptozoologists often focus on creatures from folklore record. Most famously, these include the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, the Chupacabra, as well as other imposing beasts that could be labeled as monsters. In their search for the entities, cryptozoologists may employ devices such as motion-sensitive cameras, night vision equipment, and audio recording equipment. While there have been attempts to codify cryptozoological approaches, unlike biologists, zoologists, botanists, and other academic disciplines, however, there has been no accepted uniform or successful methods of pursuing cryptids. Some scholars have identified precursors to modern cryptozoology in certain medieval approaches to the folklore record, and the psychology behind the cryptozoology approach has been the subject of academic study. Historically, notable cryptozoologists have often identified instances featuring irrefutable evidence, such as Sanderson and Krantz, only for the evidence to be revealed as a product of a hoax. This may occur during closer examination by experts or upon confession of the hoaxer. There's also something called the young earth creationism, and this is a subset of cryptozoology which promotes the pseudoscience of young earth creationism, rejecting conventional science in favor of biblical interpretation and promoting such concepts as living dinosaurs. Science writer Sharon A. Hill observes that the young earth creationist segment of cryptozoology is well funded and able to conduct expeditions with a goal of finding a living dinosaur that they think would invalidate evolution. Anthropologist Jeb J. Card says the creationists have embraced cryptozoology, and some cryptozoological expeditions are funded and conducted by creationists hoping to disprove evolution.
Can I just say?
Funded a lot by them.
Evening, Irene. Evening, Claire. Evening, Carol. Basically leans into the paranormal, but I have a pic of a black figure with a dog wolf human face, and it's 100% real because it's the one that found during a live stream in Cornwall. Oh, Hercules, you have to send us that, sweet. What I want to say though is Yolanda put, if there's any out there, I hope they remain hidden from man. I've got to agree with Yo-Yo on this one. I think it's brilliant that we do get sightings of them and stuff, but I think for their own safety, with what man will do or woman will do, I think they are better off staying mythical creatures, because they'll just get. Well, you don't want to think what's going to happen, would you?
They'll just test them, won't they? Just do tests on it.
So, we're on to Loch Nessie. Have you got pictures or?
I have, but not of. It relates to some of these stories.
That's okay then.
What I'm going to do is I'll get the first one ready. I just need to find out what the first one is.
I don't know, because I didn't do anything.
No, you didn't do all of it with me.
Oh dear.
I think it's Hugh Gray, the first one.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
well, we'll wait till we get to that one then. So, Loch Nessie. The Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, is a creature in Scottish folklore. that is said to inhabit Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. It is often described as large, long-necked, and with one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest and belief in the creature has varied since it was brought to worldwide attention in 1933. So you can see,
No,
they
they
can't see
can't see
Nessie,
that.
yeah, can they?
That's the one in 1933.
Oh, so you could put it up because it was brought to attention, and then you can leave that up while we read rest.
Okay.
In August 1933, the Courier published the account of George Spicer's alleged sighting. Public interest skyrocketed, with countless letters being sent in detailing different sightings describing a monstrous fish, sea serpent or dragon, with the final name ultimately setting on Loch Ness Monster. Since the 1940s, the creature has been affectionately called Nessie. So that's one of the sightings that's been seen. I'll let you read next one.
So these are some of the sightings
Sure.
of Nessie and a little bit about them. So the earliest report of a monster in the vicinity of Loch Ness appears in the Life of St. Columba by Adomnan, written in the 6th century AD. According to Adomnan, is it?
Adomnan.
Adobnan.
That's it.
Writing about a century after the events described, Irish monk St. Columba was staying in the land of the Picts, which is Scotland, with his companions when he encountered local residents burying a man by the river Ness. They explained that the man was swimming in the river when he was attacked by a water beast that mauled him and dragged him underwater despite their attempts to rescue him by boat. Columbia sent a follower.
Makes it off.
No, because it'll just close it down if you do.
Go.
I've lost where I am now.
Columbia sent a follower.
Yeah, no, I've got to find it. Luigine Moko Min to swim across the river. The beast approached him, but Columbia made the sign of the cross and said, "Go no further, do not touch the man. Go back at once." The creature stopped as if it had been pulled back with ropes and fled, and Columba's men and the Picts gave thanks for what they perceived as a miracle. Believers in the monster point to this story set in the River Ness rather than Loch Ness itself as evidence of the creature's existence in the early 6th century. Skeptics question the narrative's reliability, noting that the water beast story were extremely common in medieval hagiographies, and the tale probably recycles a common motif attached to a local landmark. According to skeptic, the story may be independent of the modern Loch Ness monster legend and became attached to it by believers seeking to bolster their claims. Ronald Binns considered that this is the most serious of various alleged early sightings of the monster, but all of the claimed sightings before 1933 are dubious and do not prove a monster tradition before that date. Christopher Kearney uses a specific historical and cultural analysis of the story to separate the story about St. Columba from the modern myth of the Loch Ness monster, but finds an earlier and culturally significant use of Celtic water beast folklore along the way. In doing so, he also discredits any strong connection between Kelpies or water horses and the modern media-augmented creation of the Loch Ness monster. He also concludes that the story of St. Columba may have been impacted by earlier Irish myths about the Caranac and an Olive Feast.
See, Claire's just said the first picture. I think this was first picture of Nessie, weren't it?
This was first picture that were ever taken by Hugh Gray.
See, to me, that doesn't look anything like a Loch Ness. And to me, I don't know if you can, everybody see where arrow is that I'm pointing on screen? That looks like a piece of string or a piece of rope. And then there's like another one there.
Well, when you get to it and you read about it, you'll see what it says about it, won't you?
Well, I'm just saying what my eyes are perceiving. D. Mackenzie in 1871 or 1872. In October 1871 or 72, D. Mackenzie of Balnain reportedly saw an object resembling a log or upturned boat, wriggling and churning up the water. moving slowly at first before disappearing at faster speed. The account was not published until 1934, when Mackenzie sent the story in a letter to Rupert Gould shortly after popular interest in the monster increased. I'll read that one, then you can do.
Oh, thanks for
It's
that.
all right. Alexander Mcdonald in 1888. In 1888, Mason Alexander Mcdonald of Abrecian sighted a large stubbly-legged animal surfacing from the loch and propelling itself within 50 yards of the shore where McDonald stood. McDonald reported his sighting to Loch Ness Water's bailiff Alex Campbell and described the creature as looking like a salamander.
Get off!
Sorry.
Right, this is the first sighting in 1933, and this is Aldi McKay.
Yeah,
the best known article that first attached a great deal of attention about the creature was published on the 2nd of May 1933 in the Inverness Courier, about a large beast or whale-like fish. The article by Alex Campbell, water bailiff for Loch Ness and a part-time journalist, discussed a sighting by Adi McKay of an enormous creature with the body of a whale rolling in the water in the Loch, while she and her husband John were driving on the 882 on the 15th of April 1933. The word monster was reportedly applied for the first time in Campbell's article, although some reports claimed it was coined by editor Evan Barron. The Courier in 2017 published excerpts from the Campbell article, which had been titled "Strange Spectacle in Loch Ness," and this is what it said: "The creature disported itself, rolling and plunging for fully a minute, its body resembling that of a whale, and the water cascading and churning like a simmering cauldron. Soon, however, it disappeared in a boiling mass of foam. Both onlookers confessed that there was something uncanny about the whole thing, for they realized that there was no ordinary denizen of the depths, because apart from its enormous size, the beast, in taking its final plunge, sent out waves that were big enough to be caused by a passing steamer." According to a 2013 article, McKay said that she had yelled, "Stop the beast," when viewing the spectacle in the late 1980s. And naturalist interviewed Aldi McKay, and she admitted to knowing that there had been an oral tradition of a beast in the Loch well before her claimed sighting. Alex Campbell's 1933 article also stated that Loch Ness has for generations been credited with being the home of a fearsome-looking monster. You've got George Spicer's.
George Spicer, 1933. Again, dyslexic guys, so just bear with the, and I keep going short-tongued while I'm reading for some reason. Modern interest in the monster was sparked by a sighting on the 22nd of July 1933, when George Spicer and his wife saw a most extraordinary form of animal cross the road in front of their car. They described the creature as having a large body, about 4 feet, 1.2 meters high, and 25 feet, 8 meters long, and a long, wavy, narrow neck, slightly thicker than an elephant's trunk, and as long as the 10 to 12 foot, 3 to 4 meters width of the road. They saw no limbs. It lurched across the road towards the loch 20 yards away, leaving a trail of broken undergrowth in its wake. Spicer described it as the nearest approach to a dragon or prehistoric animal that I have ever seen in my life, and as having a long neck which moved up and down in a manner of a scenic railway. It had an animal in its mouth and had a body that was fairly big, with a high back, but there weren't any feet. They must have been of the web kind. As for the tail, I cannot say, as it moved so rapidly, and when we got to the spot, it had probably disappeared into the loch. On the 4th of August 1933, the Courier published a report of Spicer's sighting. The sighting triggered a massive amount of public interest, an uptick in alleged sightings, leading to the solidification of the actual name Loch Ness Monster. It has been claimed that sightings of the monster increased after a road was built along the Loch in early 1933, bringing workers and tourists to the formerly isolated area. However, Binns has described this as the myth of the lonely Loch, as it was too far from isolation before then due to the construction of the Caledonian Canal. In the 1930s, the existing road by the side of the Loch was given a serious upgrade.
So the next one is this picture. It was Hugh Gray in 1933. Hugh Gray's photograph taken near Foyers on the 12th of November 1933 was the first photograph to allege to depict the monster. It was slightly blurred, and it had been noted that if one looks closely, the head of a dog can be seen. Gray had taken his Labrador for a walk that day, and it is suspected that the photograph depicts his dog fetching a stick from the Loch. Others have suggested that the photograph depicts an otter or a swan. The original negative was lost, however, in 1963. Maurice Burton came into possession of 2 lantern slides, contact positives from the original negative, and when projected onto a screen, they revealed an otter rolling on the surface in a characteristic fashion. So saying that's an otter rolling on the surface, that one.
But it's either like that, because you can see the gap. To me, it looks like material, and it looks like it's on 2 strings. You can see the string through the water. That's definitely a string coming down there under waves, and on that side there, because it's breaking the actual thing.
Well, the next one is actually a sketch.
Right.
You don't want me to do the next one, so I've already done that short one.
Yeah.
So this is to this one. So this is Arthur Grant in 1934. On the 5th of January 1934, a motorcyclist, Arthur Grant, claimed to have nearly hit the creature while approaching Abrican near northeastern end of the. I'm just going to put where we're near the northeastern end of the Loch at about 1 a.m. on a moonlit night. According to Grant, it had a small head attached to a long neck. The creature saw him and crossed the road back to the Loch. Grant, a veterinary student, described it as a cross between a seal and a plesiosaur. He said he dismounted and followed it to the Loch, but saw only ripples. Grant produced a sketch of the creature that was examined by a zoologist, Maurice Burton, who stated it was consistent with the appearance and behaviour of an otter. Regarding the long size of the creature reported by Grant, it has been suggested that it was a faulty observation due to poor light conditions. Paleontologist Darren Nash has suggested that Grant may have seen either an otter or a seal and exaggerated his sighting over time.
Possible.
I don't think that don't look like an otter. It's
No,
the neck to me.
It's the too long a neck.
The rest of it, if you cut it off there
and made a smaller,
it could be an otter.
Yeah.
But
not with a head.
Not with head.
Are we on this one?
Yeah, the surgeon's photograph.
The surgeon's photograph in 1934. The surgeon's photograph is reported like the first photo of the creature's head and neck, supposedly taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson, a London gynecologist.
Yep.
I thought I'd read that wrong then.
This is probably the most famous
It was
picture.
published in the Daily Mail on the 21st of April 1934. Wilson refused to have his name associated with it, led to it being known as the surgeon's photograph. According to Wilson, he was looking at the Loch when he saw the monster, grabbed his camera and snapped 4 photos. Only 2 exposures came out clearly. The first reportedly shows a small head and back, and the second shows a similar head in a diving position. The first photo became well known, as the second attracted little publicly because of its blurriness. For 60 years, the photo was considered evidence of the monster's existence, although skeptics dismissed it as driftwood. An elephant, an otter, or bird, the photo scale was controversial. It is often shown cropped, making the creature seem large and the ripples like wave, while the uncropped shot shows the other end of the log and the monster in the centre. The ripples in the photo were found to fit the size and pattern of small ripples, rather than the large waves photographed up close. Oh wow, this is long. Analysis of the original image fostered further doubt. In 1993, the makers of the Discovery Communications documentary Loch Ness Discovered analysed the uncropped images and found a white object visible in every version of the photo, implying that it was on the negative. It was believed to be the cause of the ripples, as if the object was being towed, although possibly of a blemish on the negative could not be ruled out. An analysis of a full photograph indicated that the object was small, around 60 to 90 centimetres, 2 to 3 foot long. Since 1994, most agreed that the photo was an elaborate hoax. It had been described as fake in a 7th December 1975 Sunday Telegraph article that fell into obscurity. Details of how the photo was taken were published in a 1999 book, Nessie, The Surgeon's Photograph Exposed, which contains a facsimile, one of them, of the 1975 Sunday Telegraph article. The creature was reportedly a toy submarine built by Christian Sperling, the son-in-law of Marmaduke Wetherill. Wetherill had been publicly ridiculed by his employer, the Daily Mail, after he found Nessie's footprint that turned out to be a hoax. To get revenge on the Mail, Wethersell perpetrated his hoax with co-conspirators Sperling, sculpture specialist Ian Weathering, his son, who bought the materials for the fake, and Maurice Chambers, an insurance agent. The toy submarine was brought from F.W. Woolworths, and its head and neck were made from wood putty. After testing it at a local pond, the group went to Loch Ness, where Ian Wetherill took the photos near the Altsai Tea House. When they heard a water bailiff approaching, Duke Wetherill sank the model with his foot, and it is presumably still somewhere in Loch Ness. Chambers gave the photographic plates to Wilson, a friend of his who enjoyed a good practical joke. Wilson brought the plates to Ogston's, an Inverness chemist, and gave them to George Morrison for development. He sold the first photo to the Daily Mail, who then announced that a monster had been photographed. Little is known of the second photo. It is often ignored by researchers who believe its quality too poor and its differences from the first photo too great to warrant analysis. That's it. It shows a head similar to the first photo, which is a more turbulent wave pattern and possibly taken at a different time and location in the loch. Some believe it to be an earlier, cruder attempt at a hoax, and others, including Roy Mackle and Maurice Burton, consider it a picture of a diving bird or otter that Wilson mistook for a monster. According to Morrison, when the plates were developed, Wilson was uninterested in the second photo. He allowed Morrison to keep the negative, and the photo was rediscovered years later. When asked about the second photo by Ness Information Services newsletter, Sperling was vague, thought it might have been a piece of wood they were trying out as a monster, but was not sure. Wow.
So that's probably the most famous, I think.
Because they have to, don't they? That's all. That's the whole part of it, Claire. Sweets.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
I do think there is something there in Loch Ness, because the caves do go deep at one side and it goes very deep. I do think there is something, whether it's what people described, I don't know, because I've not seen it, but I'd like to believe that there is something.
This one is called Taylor Film in 1938. On the 29th of May 1938, South African tourist G.E. Taylor filmed something on the loch for 3 minutes on a 16mm colour film. The film was obtained by popular science writers Maurice Burton, who did not show it to the researchers. A single frame was published in his 1961 book, The Elusive Monsters. His analysis concluded it was a floating object, not an animal. And that's all they said. But what do you think it is? Do you think it's
to
a
me
floating
that I think that
object? I mean, that's
is,
blown up from that.
I mean, I personally think that is a piece of wood floating in Loch. I do believe that that's a piece of wood floating in Loch. It doesn't look anything untowards that. I don't even. I mean, even if you're looking at it from a distance, to me, it's just a piece of driftwood or something. That one.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not putting this one up yet. I will leave that one up if you want, or in fact, I'll take it off. I'm not going to put, like I said, I'm not going to put the other one up yet because it's not.
Yeah. Why do people have to fake? Well, do you know what, Claire? Some people just like to fake anyway, don't they?
So William Fraser, on the 15th of August, 1938, William Fraser, Chief Constable of Inverness, wrote a letter that the monster existed beyond doubt and expressed concerns about a hunting party that had arrived with a custom-made harpoon gun, determined to catch the monster dead or alive. He believed his power to protect the monster from the hunter was very doubtful. The letter was released by the National Archives of Scotland on the 27th of April 2010. So that's not so much of the sighting, but it's more that just saying that people had turned up. There was some sonar readings in 1954. In December 1954, sonar readings were taken by the fishing boat, the Rival 3. Its crew noted a large object keeping pace with the vessel at a depth of 146 meters, 479 feet. It was detected for 800 meters or 2,600 feet before contact was lost and regained. Previous sonar attempts were inconclusive or negative. So the next one we've got, because I ain't got a picture of that sonar. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. I was going to put it back up.
Okay. Well, you click on it.
Click on it.
I thought you were trying to share it, because by sharing it, you have to do that.
No, I'm trying to put it back up on your screen.
This one was taken by Peter McNab in 1955. Peter McNab at Urquhart Castle on the 29th of July 1955 took a photograph that depicted two long black humps in the water. The photograph was not made public until it appeared in Constance White's 1957 book on the subject. On the 23rd of October 1958, it was published by the Weekly Scotsman. Author Ronald Binns wrote that the phenomenon which McNab photographed could easily be a wave effect resulting from three trawlers travelling closely together up the Loch. Other researchers considered the photograph to be a hoax. Roy McCall requested to use the photograph in his 1976 book. He received the original negative from McNab, but discovered it differed from the photograph that appeared in White's book. The tree at the bottom left of White's was missing from the negative. I'm presuming it's... Oh, no. Bottom right must be down. Oh, there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, three were missing.
But...
Negative. It was suspected that the photograph was doctored by rephotographing a print.
Really? I didn't know that. But, I mean, again, with that, there's... How shallow is? I mean, to me, that looks like near edge of pond. You can see a tree there. You know, you can see a tree there. You've got the shadows coming in off that. How shallow is this bit here? I mean, people have said that could be black bin liners being pulled or through water. There's just so many different things on the sightings of Loch Ness where people have actually redone the certain sightings and they've put it in place. I do think with that one, it does look like something swimming under the water, but it's just too difficult to call it with that photo. it's too. There's not enough there. The photo needs to be wider, so we're getting a bigger. Do you know they're cropping the photos down? They need to be left wider so we can actually see them. Which one are we on?
Dinsdale.
Dinsdale.
So this, unfortunately, these photographs don't get any better. I mean, they are from what? 1950s, 1960s.
Claire said there is a sighting from this year.
Yeah, I know.
So have we got that one up?
I don't know. I don't think we've got as far as that.
Right. No, but have you got it on page? No. Oh. Aeronautical engineer Tim Dinsdale filmed a hump that left a wake crossing Loch Ness in 1960. Dinsdale, who reportedly had the sighting on his final day of search, described it as a reddish with a blotch on each side. He said that when he mounted his camera, the object began to move. Sorry. Oh, my mind just triggered at that one word. And he shot and he shot 40 feet of film. According to Jarek, the object was probably animate. That it? Animate?
Yeah.
Others were skeptical, saying that the hump cannot be ruled out as being a boat, and when the contrast is increased, a man can be seen in the boat.
Well, you can actually see like a little bit going up in the middle, so it could be like a little rowing boat with a man in it.
It could.
Yeah, so you're going to do second.
Oh, yeah. In 1993, Discovery Communications produced a documentary, Loch Ness Discovered, with a digital enhancement of the Dinsdale film. A person who enhanced the film noticed a shadow in the negative that was not obvious in the developed film. By enhancing and overlaying frames, he found what appeared to be a rear body of a creature underwater. Before I saw the film, I thought Loch Ness Monster was a load of rubbish. Having done the enhancement, I'm not sure.
So they're saying if you that's not the enhanced photo, that's the original photo.
That's original. So if you enhance that,
yeah, then apparently you can see the body underwater. So
wow. We need to do that. We need to enhance that if we can.
We ain't got the equipment.
And we got if anybody's got the equipment
makers
to enhance that photo and send it us, it would be really, really muchly appreciated. You can either email it us at ETA paranormal@hotmail.com, or you can send it us via Messenger.
Now this one is the Loch Ness Muppet.
Now, again with this one.
Well, you're going to find out because you haven't read it, have you?
No. Looks a bit shiny.
So this one was called, or it has been called since, the Loch Ness Muppet, and it was taken in 1977. On the 21st of May, 1977, Anthony Doc Shields, camping next to the castle, took some of the clearest pictures of the monster until this day. Shields, a magician and psychic, claimed to have summoned the animal out of the water. He later described it as an elephant squid, claiming the long neck shown in the photograph is actually the squid's trunk, and that the white spot at the base of the neck is its eye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Is that supposed to be its eye there?
Yeah. You have to, on little picture, you have to put, you can see cursor. That's supposed to be its eye. Due to the lack of ripples, it has been declared a hoax by a number of people and received its name because of its staged look.
I'm sorry, but that to me looks very brassic. That bit there, it looks like a door handle. It looks like somebody's placed a door handle in the water. That side there and that side that looks like where pins would go. And I think it's like a close-up shot of what I would describe as a door handle, just because that's what's on old-fashioned door handles. Is it me?
So that's a lot. I'll leave that one up for now so people can look, but that we believe is a fake. So then the next one is a sonar image.
Totally.
21st of August 2011, Loch Ness boat captain Marcus Atkinson photographed a sonar image of a 1.5 meter wide, 4.9 foot unidentified object that seemed to follow his boat for 2 minutes at depth of 23 meters or 75 feet, and ruled out the possibility of a small fish or seal. In April 2012, a scientist from the National Oceanography Center said that the image is a bloom of algae and zooplankton. Now, when I looked for this, I found this picture. I didn't download it in the end, only because I didn't want to put so much emphasis on this one, because there's a lot of controversy around this one.
Yes.
Because he was saying that it is, and it does look like Nessie at the bottom of the ocean. Now, I also read an article while I was researching about this, and they made a film, and I'm not sure if it's on the next one. Or we've already mentioned it. Anyway, there was a film that was made and they used a cutout, basically, like a built boaty type thing that float with head on it, to film it, because of this film. I think it was Sherlock Holmes film, and one of them sank. And on this certain website, they're saying that sonar image, when they put a picture of the actual model and then the sonar image, they look very similar, and they say it's the sunken model
that's down there.
Yeah, and other people say that it's not, it's algae, zooplankton, and somebody else says it's something else. So I didn't want to put too much emphasis on that one, because I don't know. Anyway, George Edwards' photograph. I don't know if I've got this one. I can't. You see George Edwards? Oh, it's there. So let me stop sharing that one.
I don't like these photos of this one.
Oh, these are, unfortunately.
I know. Fridge magnets, definitely. I think you can get them on fridge magnets now. I mean, I'd like to think there is a Nessie out there. That there, look, that to me looks like other end. No, with that photo, yeah.
So anyway, this was George Edwards' photograph, and it was taken in 2011. On the 3rd of August 2012, skipper George Edwards claimed that a photo he took on the 2nd of November 2011 shows Nessie. Edwards claims to have searched for the monster for 26 years and reportedly spent 60 hours per week on the Loch aboard his boat, Nessie Hunter 4, taking tourists for rides on the lake. Edwards says, in my opinion, it probably looks kind of like a manatee, but not a mammal. When people see 3 humps, they're probably just seeing 3 separate monsters. Other researchers have questioned the photograph's authenticity, and Loch Ness researcher Steve Feltham suggested that the object in the water is a fiberglass hump used in National Geographic's Channel documentary in which Edwards had participated. Researcher Dick Rayner had questioned Edwards' claim of discovering a deeper bottom of Loch Ness, which Rayner calls Edwards Deep. He found inconsistencies between Edwards' claims from the location and the conditions of the photograph and the actual location and weather conditions on that day. According to Rayner, Edwards told him that he had faked a photograph in 1986 that he claimed was genuine in the Nat Geo documentary. Although Edwards admitted in October 2013 that his 2011 photograph was a hoax, he insisted that the 1986 photograph was genuine. A survey of the literature about other hoaxes, including photographs published by the Scientific American on the 10th of July 2013, indicates many others since the 1930s. The recent photo, considered to be good, appeared even in newspapers in August 2012. It was allegedly taken by George Edwards in 2011, but was definitely a hoax, according to the Science Journal. Well, if I look at what
can I just tell you?
I'm going to show you something, because I've seen the picture.
But can I just say to me, do you know what that actually looks like there?
What?
It looks like a fish. It looks like you've got
his name?
The head
George
there,
Edwards.
look, and you've got the tail there. And to me, where there's no ripples in water as such, it looks like something's like dove. It's like a pike or a carp, maybe. I don't know. A big fish.
That's George Edwards with his fake.
Wow.
He admitted it was a fake, that one.
That one.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that.
Oh, no, let me stop sharing that.
So that's George Edwards there with the fake, and that's the one in the picture that you can see now.
They can't see it now.
No, you can't see it now. You could see it before. But to me, it looked like a fish, a jumping fish. Yeah. He earns a revenue by taking tourists on a boat ride to look for Nessie. Sadly, I have to debunk everything off him. Yeah. This looks like upside down boat. Yeah. To me, I thought more a jumping fish. But yeah, just been looking while listening. It's had more sightings than I thought. 13 times last year and 13 more this year. Wow. Well, we're nearly coming to end of Nessie. So this one is the David Elder video.
So I don't know if I've got this one. No, I couldn't find this one.
No. And what about Apple Maps?
No, I didn't get that one.
Right. So David Elder video, 2013. On the 27th of August, 2013, tourist David Elder presented a 5-minute video of a mysterious wave in the Loch. According to Elder, the wave was produced by a 4.5 meter, a 15-foot solid black object just under the surface of the water. Elder, 50, from East Kilbridge, Kilbride, South Lanarkshire, was taking a picture of a swan at the Fort Augustus Pier on the southwestern end of the Loch. When he captured the movement, he said the water was very still at the time and there were no ripples coming off the wave and no other activity on the water. Skeptics suggest that the wave may have been caused by a gust of wind. And I'd have to see that before I commented, but I can't see a gust of wind. Well, it depends on how strong wind were, but and then Apple Maps photographer on 2014. So this you can actually see by a satellite image. On the 19th of April 2014, it was reported that a satellite image on Apple Maps showed what appeared to be a large creature, thought by some to be the Loch Ness monster, just below the surface of Loch Ness. At the Loch's far north, the image appeared about 30 meters, which is 98 foot long. Possible explanations were the wake of a boat, with the boat itself lost in imaging, stitching, or low contrast, seals, cold ripples, or floating wood.
That's it. That's all about that.
That's all that.
About Nessie. So what does everyone think about Loch Ness? Do we think it's true? Do we think it's a myth? Do we think it's all a hoax just to generate tourism?
Base, anything that comes to the surface seems to be called Nessie. Not buying it. Yep. That's okay, Yo-Yo. Claire, when I went to Loch Ness, there were loads of white waves, all that looked like Nessie bobbing up and down, but the water was far from calm. So it's quite ripply then. But again, if you've got moving water and you stare at it long enough, you actually start to see
pareidolia.
It's pareidolia of water. I'd still like to think there's something in Loch Ness, just because I'm just
Jules is 50, like 50-50 to be honest. I think there's something there, but I don't think it's a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. Myth, hoax until better pics are available. I agree with that.
The actual Nessie is a myth or a hoax, but I think there is something there that people are confusing. Like they said, it could have been manatees or something like that. There could have been 3 of them in a row, and they've seen 3 humps, so they think it's one animal.
Which bit do you want to read?
That bit.
Oh no!
So you're pretty. What have you done here?
I haven't done anything. You just. Oh, that's Loch Ness, isn't it?
Yeah, you've mixed.
So that wants to go with that one. I haven't mixed them all.
So you can read it because I've got some pictures. Now, I don't think these pictures aren't linked to any particular story. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share them one at a time, and they are pictures of
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So thousands of people have claimed to observe a Bigfoot, which is often described as a large, muscular, bipedal ape-like creature, roughly 1.8 to 2.7 meters, 6 to 9 foot, and covered in black, dark brown, or dark reddish hair. Some descriptions of creatures standing as tall as 3.0, 4.6 meters, which is 10 to 15 foot, A pungent, foul-smelling odour is sometimes associated with reports of the creature commonly described as similar to rotten eggs or skunk. The face of Bigfoot is often described as human-like, with a flat nose and visible lips. Common descriptions also include broad shoulders, no visible neck, and long arms. The eyes are commonly described as a dark in colour and have been alleged to glow yellow or red at night. However, eye shine is not present in humans or any other known grey ape, and so proposed explanations for observable eye shine in the forest include perched owls, raccoons, or opossums. Opossums. The enormous footprints for which the creature is named are claimed to be as large as 610 millimeters, 24-inch long, and 200 millimeters, which is 8 inches wide. Some footprints cats have also contained claw marks, making it likely that they came from a known animal such as bears, which have 5 toes and claws. You see, I
used to believe that's a Bigfoot. Not there.
I believe that there is a Bigfoot. I believe in Sasquatch, and I don't just think it's in America. I think that they're in Ireland, and I think that they're in Scotland. I think these creatures, whether it's true that there is different dimensions that they come and go from.
What about that one?
I think to me that looks more like a hoax.
That looks
one.
like a man in a ghillie suit.
Because it does. But... I mean, it's just with the bending of the knees, the knobbles on the I'm not saying that's not how they'd walk, but I just think.
Well, I'll do the history, and you can do origins of Bigfoot name.
Okay.
Right. So many of the indigenous cultures across the North American continent tell stories of Bigfoot, and according to anthropologist David Daegling, and I apologize if I've got that name wrong, these legends existed long before there was a single name for the creature now known as Bigfoot. These stories differed in their details both regionally and between families in the same community. On the Chul River Indian Reservation in California, petroglyphs created by a group of Yokuts at a site called Painted Rock are alleged by some to depict a group of Bigfoots called the Family. The local tribe people call it the largest of the glyphs, Hairy Man, and they are estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 years old. In the region that is now Mississippi, a French Jesuit priest, and they said jet suit then, a French Jesuit priest was living with the Natchez people in 1721 and reported stories of a hairy creature in the woods that was known to scream loudly and steal livestock. Ecologist Robert Pyle argues that most cultures have accounts of human-like giants in their folk history, expressing a need for some larger-than-life creature. Each language had its own name for the creature featured in the local version of such legends. Many names meant something along the lines of wild man or hairy man, although other names described common actions that it was said to perform, such as eating clams or shaking tree. Chief Michel of the Lackapamucks at Lytton, British Columbia, told a story to Charles Hill Tout in 1898. He named the creature by a Salishan variant, meaning the benign-faced one. Members of the Lumini tell tales about what am I going to pronounce that? Tsemiquis, the local version of Bigfoot. The stories are similar to each other in the general description, but details differed among various families' accounts concerning the creature's diet and activities. Some regional versions tell of more threatening creatures, the Stayara and the Quiquii, which are a nocturnal race, and children were warned against saying their names so that the monsters would not come and carry them off to be killed. The Iroquois tell of an aggressive, hair-covered giant with rock-hard skin known as the Otniyahi or Stow Giant, more commonly referred to as the Genusqua. In 1847, Paul Kane reported stories by the natives about Skookoons, a race of cannibalistic wild men living on the peak of Mount St. Helens in southern Washington state. Also related to this area was an alleged incident in 1924 in which a violent encounter between a group of miners and a group of ape men occurred. These allegations were reported in the July 16, 1924 issue of Oregonian and have become a popular piece of Bigfoot lore, with the area now being referred to as Ape Canyon. US President Theodore Roosevelt, in his 1893 book, The Wilderness Hunter, writes of a story he was told by an elderly mountain man named Bowman, in which a foul-smelling bipedal creature ransacked his beaver trapping camp. Don't want your beaver trapping camp right there. Stalked him and later became hostile when it fatally broke his companion's neck in the wilderness near the Idaho-Montana border. Roosevelt notes that Bowman appeared fearful while telling the story, but attributed the trapper's folkloric German ancestry to have potentially influenced him. Less menacing versions have also been recorded, such as the one by Reverend Elkanah Walker from 1840. Walker was a Protestant missionary who recorded stories of giants among the natives living near Spokane, Washington. These giants were said to live on and around the peaks of nearby mountains, stealing salmon from the fishermen's nets. In the 1920s, Indian Affairs agent J. W. Burns compiled local stories and published them in a series of Canadian newspaper articles. They were accounts told to him by St. Alice people of Chehalis and others. The St. Alias and other regional tribes maintained that the creatures were real and that they were offended by people telling them that the figures were legendary. According to the St. Elias accounts, the creatures preferred to avoid white men and spoke the Lilut language of the people at Port Douglas, British Columbia, at the head of Harrison Lake. These accounts were published again in 1940. Burns borrowed the term Sasquatch from the Halcomelium Saskek and used it in his articles to describe a hypothetical single type of creature as portrayed in the local stories. Jesus, I'm glad that's over with.
Have you got any more pictures?
Oh, I've got loads more pictures.
Oh. Origin of the Bigfoot name. In 1958, Jerry Crew, a logging company bulldozer operator in Humboldt County, California, discovered a set of large 410 millimeters, 16-inch human-like footprints sunk deep within the mud in the Six Rivers National Forest. Upon informing his co-workers, many claimed to have seen similar tracks on previous job sites, as well as telling of odd incidents, such as oil drums weighing 450 pounds, 200 kilograms, having been moved without explanation. The logging company men soon began utilizing the term Bigfoot to describe the mysterious culprit. Crew initially believed someone was playing a prank on them, once again observed more of these numerous massive footprints and contacted reporter Andrew Genzoli of the Humboldt Times newspaper. Genzoli interviewed lumber workers and wrote articles about the mysterious footprints, introducing the name Bigfoot in relation to the tracks and the local tales of a large, hairy wild man. A plaster cast was made of the footprint, and a crew appeared holding one of the casts on the front page of the newspaper on October 6, 1958. The story spread rapidly as Genzoli began to receive correspondence from major media outlets, including the New York and Los Angeles Times. As a result, the term Bigfoot became widespread as a reference to an apparent large, unknown creature leaving massive footprints in the Northern California. In 2002, the family of the crew's deceased co-workers, Ray Wallace, claimed that their father had been secretly making the large footprints with carved wooden feet and that he was responsible for the tracks. Despite the Wallace family's claim, Willow Creek and Humboldt County are considered by some to the Bigfoot capital of the world. Sightings. About 1/3 of all claims of Bigfoot sightings are located in the Pacific Northwest, while the remaining reports spread throughout the rest of North America. Most reports are considered mistakes or hoaxes, even by those researchers who claim Bigfoot exists. Sightings predominantly occur in the northwestern region of Washington, Oregon, Northern California, and the British Columbia. Other prominent areas of supposed sightings include the rural areas of the Great Lake region and the southeastern United States. According to data collected from the Bigfoot Field Research Organization, BFRO, Bigfoot Sightings Database in 2019, Washington has over 2,000 reported sightings, California over 1,600, Pennsylvania over 1,300, New York and Oregon over 1,000, and Texas has just over 800. The debate over the legitimacy of Bigfoot sightings reached a peak in the 1970s, and Bigfoot has been regarded as the first widely popularized example
of pseudoscience.
Of what?
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience in American culture.
Now, this one, I'm sure this one was something called like mother or something to do with mother or parent or something. But to me, that looks like a man walking his dog.
It does.
The man's there walking with dog in front, but I don't know. That could be a rock for all I know.
Hey, Lisa.
Because again, that's a zoomed in. Do you want me to do regional other name?
I'll do that bit and then I'll let you do that bit. Regional and other names. Many regions have differentiating names for the creatures. In Canada, the name Sasquatch is widely used, although often interchangeable with the name Bigfoot. The United States uses both of these names, but also has numerous names and descriptions of the creatures depending on the region and area in which they are allegedly sighted. These include the skunk ape in Florida and other southern states, grassman in Ohio, fork monster in Arkansas, wood booger in Virginia, the monster of Whitehall in Whitehall, New York, Momo in Missouri, Honey Island swamp monster in Louisiana, Dewey Lake monster in Michigan, Mulligan monster in Arizona, and the Big Muddy monster in southern Illinois. The term wood ape is also used by some as a means to deviate from the perceived mythical connection surrounding the name Bigfoot. Other names include Bushman, Treeman, and Wildman. Alleged behavior. Some Bigfoot researchers claim that Bigfoot supposedly throws rocks as a territorial display and for communication. Other claims include wood-knocking behavior, theorized to be a communication. Skeptic argues that these behaviors are easily hoaxed. Additionally, structures are broken and twisted foliage seems placed in specific areas that have been attributed by some to Bigfoot behavior. In some reports, lodgepole pine and other small trees have been observed bent, uprooted, or stacked in patterns such as a weaved and crisscrossed, leading some to theorize that they are potentially territorial.
Some to theorize.
Piss off. Potential territorial marking. Some instances have also included entire deer skeletons being suspended high in trees. In Washington state, a team of amateur Bigfoot researchers called the Olympic Project claimed to have discovered a collection of nests, and they have primatologists studied them, with the conclusion being that they appear to have been created by a primate.
Did some of them go for next way?
Some of them did. Oh, it's getting really bad, my short-tongued.
Many alleged sightings are reported to occur at night, leading to some speculations that the creatures may possess nocturnal tendencies. However, mainstream science largely disputes this claim, as all known apes, including humans and diurnal, with only lesser primates exhibiting nocturnality. Most sightings of Bigfoot indicate the creature being observed as a solitary, although some reports have described groups being allegedly observed together. Now, this bit's about vocalizations. Alleged vocalizations such as howls, screams, moans, grunts, whistles, and even a form of supposed language have been reported, Some of these alleged vocalization recordings have been analyzed by individuals such as retired U.S. Navy cryptologic linguist Scott Nelson. Wait a minute. Come on. It's my little Bigfoot.
Get in your bed. In your bed. You can't read wear on your knee.
I can't. It's my little Bigfoot, look. He analysed audio recordings from the early 1970s said to be recorded in Sierra Nevada mountains dubbed the Sierra Sounds, and stated it is definitely a language. It is definitely not human in origin, and it could not have been faked. Les Stroud has spoken of a strange vocalization he heard in the wilderness while filming Survivor Man that he stated sounded primates in origin. Some researchers claim Bigfoot can produce infrasound. Others argue that the source of the sound attributed to Bigfoot are both hoaxes, anthropomorphization, or likely misidentified and produced by known such animals as owls, wolves, coyotes, and fox. So the diet, this is what they think. Well, this is what he said in Bigfoot lore. And then if anybody knows about Bigfoot, there might be different things to this. This is just what I've researched. The concept of what Bigfoot would consume for sustenance is a debated issue. Most mainstream scientists maintain that it is unlikely that a breeding population will be able to sustain themselves in the North American forests, as great apes historically thrive only in the tropics of Africa and Asia. In addition, they would face competition with bears and other large predators, and will be leaving behind feces and other identifiable evidence. Others argue that, like bears, the creatures likely have an omnivorous diet and are opportunistic, much like humans. Some accounts indicate that the creature consumes roots, berries, nuts, fruit, fungi, salmon, and other fish, small mammals like rabbit and squirrels, birds, and such animals as elk. There also have been alleged reports of Bigfoots consuming carrion and killing or stealing livestock. In 2016, Centralia College anthropology professor and Bigfoot enthusiast Mitchell Townsend presented forensic research at the 69th Annual Anthropological Research Conference that he and his team completed after studying 3 different prey bones and recovered near Mount St. Helens. They claim that the bite marks found in the bones provide evidence of large unknown hominoid having made them based on their characteristics.
Can I just ask, where am I looking on here?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be? That's me. Do you know what I don't like about these photos? And I think it was Urquibus that said it earlier.
I'll let you do
We've now
interactions.
got 4K cameras or wherever they are.
Yeah, but I don't know when these were taken.
But why is every picture that's taken always blurred? It's never taken with a clear, everything's clear in picture. I don't understand why they have to make the pictures very blurred. Like that one is a clear picture to me. You've got the tree and everything else, and they just want to be left alone. I believe they do. I think Alma is the Russian equivalent in the snow. It must be very hard to find food. Now, to me, that looks more.
Looks more like ape.
It looks more like something. But what I like on this one is look at tree. It's not. Nothing is being faded out. You know, it just looks like a night vision camera that's just took a picture as it's passing. Alleged interactions with humans have been reported. Many indigenous American cultures traditionally fear and respect these creatures. An incident in 1924, often referred to as the Battle of Ape Canyon, tells of miners being attacked by a large, hairy, aped man that hurled rocks onto their cabin roof from a nearby cliff after one of the miners allegedly shot one with a rifle. The miner was supposedly knocked unconscious by a rock which crushed through the roof, and the creature slammed into the cabin walls, causing the entire structure to shake. Canadian prospector Albert Osterman reported that he was abducted by a Bigfoot and held captive with its family for 6 days near Toba Inlet, British Columbia in 1924. He reported that they did not cause him harm, but were instead amused by his presence. In Fork, Arkansas, in 1971, a family reported that a large haired-covered creature startled a woman after reaching through a window. The alleged incident caused panic in the area. According to the BFRO, there have been no credible modern reports of any human beings killed by a Bigfoot, but harassment and stalking-like behaviours towards people have been reported. The 2021 Hulu documentary film entitled Sasquatch describes marijuana farmers telling stories of Bigfoot harassing and killing people with the Emerald Triangle region in the 1970s through the 1990s, and specifically the alleged murder of 3 migrant workers in 1993. Investigator journalist David Holthouse attributes the stories to illegal drug operations, using the local Bigfoot law to scare away competition, specifically superstitious immigrants, and that the high rate of murder and missing persons in the area is attributed to more human action. There have also been reports of dogs allegedly being killed by Bigfoot. In the early 1990s, 911 audio recordings were made public in which a homeowner in Kitsap County, Washington, called law enforcement for assistance with a large subject described by him as being all in black. Having entered the backyard, he previously reported to the law enforcement that his dog was killed recently when it was thrown over the fence. Anthropologist Jeffrey Meldrum notes that the large predatory animal is potentially dangerous to humans, specifically if provoked, but indicates that most accounts of Bigfoot encounters results in the creatures hiding or fleeing from people. Some amateur researchers have reported that the creatures moving or taking positions of intentional gifts left by humans, such as food and jewelry, and leaving items in their place, such as rocks and twigs. Skeptics argue that many of these alleged human interactions are easily hoaxed, the result of misidentification or outright fabrications. See, that one, to me.
I'm sure this one actually turned out. I remember this one.
I hope.
I remember this thing. I'm sure that's a man in a gorilla suit. I'm sure that one is. But I might be wrong. It might not be.
Does anybody know if that one was?
The History Channel television series Monster Quest investigated a 2002 incident in which a remote wilderness fishing cabin on Snellgrove Lake in Ontario, accessible only by float plane, was broken into and ransacked sometime during the winter months. The entire kitchen appliances had been ripped from the walls and shelves were torn down, but nothing appeared to have been stolen. Initial blame was placed on a bear, and they are occasionally the culprits of home invasions and property damage in their search for food. Wildlife biologist Lynn Rogers of the North American Bear Center, after reviewing the insurance video of the cabin's damage, believes it was unlikely to have been caused by a bear due to hibernation patterns and because the refrigeration insulation, which would smell like an ant colony to the bear due to the presence of formic acid, was not ripped out and no claw or bite marks appeared present. Some have attributed the damage to have been caused by a Bigfoot, as well as other strange incidents allegedly occurring near this cabin, while others maintain it is likely the result of human vandals or a bear. Other alleged incidents of vehicles being damaged with rocks have been attributed to Bigfoot behavior, but skeptics argue it is likely to the result of human actions such as pranks or simply misidentification. So this is what this says about misidentification. Right. First one is bears. American black bears, the animal most often attributed to being mistakenly identified as Bigfoot, have been observed and recorded walking upright, often as a result of injury. In 2007, the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization put forward some photos which they claim showed a juvenile Bigfoot. The Pennsylvania Game Commission, however, said that the photos were of a bear with mange. Anthropologist Jeffrey Meldrum and Ohio scientist Jason Jarvis, on the other hand, said that the limb proportions of the creature were not bear-like, they were more like a chimpanzee. While upright, adult black bear stands roughly 1.5 to 2.1 meters, or 5 to 7 feet, and a grizzly bear roughly 2.4 to 2.7 meters, 8 to 9 feet, both within the range of Bigfoot reports. Escaped apes. Some have proposed that sightings of Bigfoot may simply be people observing and misidentifying known great apes such as chimpanzee, gorilla, and orangutan that have escaped from captivity, such as zoos, circuses, and private owners. This explanation is often proposed in relation to the Bigfoot-like skunk ape, and some argue that the humid subtropical climate of the southeastern United States could potentially support a population of escaped apes. Humans.
See, for me, going back to that bear sighting, it's like, well, in a way, Yolanda's saying it. If there's people out there like these these wildlife sanctions, if they know that there is such as there is something that's Sasquatch or whatever they want to call them, they're going to do all they can to protect. So they're going to make it out that they were brown bears. But if you can literally distinguish the difference, and you've got specialists in that field that can tell you, no, actually, that's not the way a brown bear would look, regardless. Do you know? To me, there's something.
So anyway, humans have been mistaken for Bigfoot, with some incidents leading to injuries. In 2013, a 20-year-old man in Oklahoma was arrested after he told law enforcement he accidentally shot his friend in the back while their group was allegedly hunting for Bigfoot. In 2017, a shamanist wearing clothing made of animal furs was vacationing in North Carolina forest when local reports of an alleged Bigfoot sightings flooded in. The Greenville Police Department issued a public notice not to shoot Bigfoot in fear of someone in a fursuit mistakenly being injured or killed. In 2018, a person was shot multiple times by a hunter near Helena, Montana, who claimed he mistook him for Bigfoot. Additionally, some have attributed feral humans or hermits living in the wildernesses as being another explanation for alleged Bigfoot sightings. One famous story, The Wild Man of Navidad, tells of a wild ape man who roamed the wilderness of eastern Texas in the mid-19th century, stealing food and goods from local residents. A search party allegedly captured an escaped African slave who was attributed to the story. During the 1980s, a number of psychologically damaged American Vietnam veterans were discovered living in remote forests across North America, living off the land and wearing animal hides as clothing. As of 2020, many survivalist veterans and others continue to call the forest of the Pacific Northwest home. So there is a lot of there's them off the grid, isn't there, that live in. Oh. So I mean, are people seeing them in ghillie suits or in furs because they ain't, you know what I mean? They're living off the grid.
Don't know.
Pareidolia. Some have proposed that pareidolia may explain Bigfoot sightings, specifically the tendency to observe human-like faces and figures within the natural environment. Photos and videos of poor quality alleged to depict Bigfoot are often attributed to this phenomenon and commonly referred to as blob squatch.
Not sure, Julian. It could be.
So, both Bigfoot believers and non-believers agree that many of the reported sightings are hoaxes or misidentified animals. Author Jerome Clark argues that the Jacko affair was a hoax involving an 1884 newspaper report of an ape-like creature captured in British Columbia. He cites research by John Green, who found that several contemporaneous British Columbia newspapers regarded the alleged capture as a highly dubious, and notes that the Mainland Guardian of New Westminster, British Columbia, wrote absurdity is written on the face of it. Do you want me to carry on, or do you want to read this last bit?
You do that bit, I'll do that bit.
Right. In 1968, the frozen corpse of a supposed hair-covered humanoid measuring 5 feet 11 inches, 1.8 meters, was paraded around the United States as part of a traveling exhibition. Many stories surfaced as to its origins, such as it having been killed by hunters in Minnesota or killed by American soldiers near Da Nang during the Vietnam War. It was attributed by some to be proof of a Bigfoot-like creature. Primatologist John R. Napier studied the subject and concluded it was a hoax made of latex. Others disputed this, claiming Napier did not study the original subject. As of 2013, the subject, dubbed the Minnesota Iceman, is on display at the Museum of Weird in Austin, Texas. Tom Biscardi, longtime Bigfoot enthusiast and CEO of Searching for Bigfoot Inc., appeared on the Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Radio Show on the 14th of July 2005 and said he was 98% sure that his group was able to capture Bigfoot, which they had been tracking in the Happy Camp, California area. A month later, he announced on the same radio show that he had access to a captured Bigfoot and was arranging a pay-per-view event for people to see it. He appeared on Coast to Coast AM again a few days later to announce that there was no captive Bigfoot. He blamed an unnamed woman for misleading him and said the show's audience was gullible.
Which are we on?
On July.
On July the 9th, 2008, Rick Dyer and Matthew Whitten posted a video to YouTube claiming they had discovered the body of a dead Bigfoot in the forest of northern Georgia. Tom Biscardi was contacted to investigate. Dyer and Whitten received $50,000 from Searching for Bigfoot Incorporated, I think, as a good faith gesture. The story was covered by many major news networks, including BBC, CNN, ABC News, and Fox News. Soon after a press conference, the alleged Bigfoot body was delivered in a block of ice in a freezer with the Searching for Bigfoot team. When the contents were thawed, observers found that the hair was not real, the head was hollow, and the feet were rubber. Dyer and Whitten admitted that it was a hoax after being confronted by Steve Coles, executive director of SasquatchDetective.com. In August 2012, a man in Montana was killed by a car while perpetrating a Bigfoot hoax using a ghillie suit. In January 2014, Rick Dyer, perpetrator of a previous Bigfoot hoax, said that he had killed a Bigfoot in September 2012 outside San Antonio. He claimed to have scientific tests conducted on the body, from DNA tests to 3D optional scans to body scans. It is the real deal. It's Bigfoot, and Bigfoot's here, and I shot it, and now I'm proving it to the world. He said that he had kept the body in a hidden location and he intended to take it on tour across North America in 2014. He released photos of the body and videos showing a few individuals' reactions to seeing it, but never released any of the tests or scans. He refused to disclose the test results or to provide biological samples. He said that the DNA results were done by an undisclosed lab and could not be matched to identify any known animal. Dwyer said that he would reveal the body and tests on February the 9th, 2014 at a news conference at Washington University, but he never made the test results available. After the Phoenix tour, the Bigfoot body was taken to Houston. On March 28, 2014, Dwyer admitted on his Facebook page that his Bigfoot corpse was another hoax. He had paid Chris Russell of Twisted Toy Box to manufacture the prop from latex foam and camel hair, which he nicknamed Hank. Dwyer earned approximately US dollars 60,000 from the tour of this second fake Bigfoot corpse. He stated that he did kill a Bigfoot, but did not take the real body on tour for fear that it would be stolen. You don't want to run across a group of hairy men. No, that wouldn't be good.
My hair gets no longer. I don't go to America.
But this is the thing. I mean, I know the problem is hunters are rewarded for evidence, and that's in.
I think we should all get T-shirts. I think we should all get T-shirts that said "Bigfoot Lives Matter."
Yes. But for me, with Bigfoot, I definitely do believe that there is something. I mean, we've covered 2 tonight, and it's took us an hour and a half to cover 2 different.
Yeah, there were other ones I wanted to look at.
We've got loads more.
I wanted to look at others.
There's Mothman. There's, like John says, it's Chupacabra. There's all sorts of different ones that we're going to look at doing, and we're going to look at doing them over a course through December, I think. Just because I don't know if you heard weather earlier, but it's absolutely shizer out there. Hey, Ruby.
No, that's just a link, one of them links.
What links?
Them links they put on YouTube that take you to porn pages or where they try and scam your money off.
Can't we block it? Beast of Bodmin. Exactly. Do you know, there's all sorts. There you go, blocked. But no, there's all sorts of different ones that we want to come on and cover. And yeah, I think it's interesting. I think there has been so many sightings of there's too many sightings for there not to be something, if that makes sense for me. You know, there can't be that many people running about in woods to sightings that get seen. And it's not just nighttime sightings, it's daytime sightings.
I mean, that's a daytime one.
It is a daytime one, but again, I'm not
sure.
That could be back for a bear. It looks like a tail.
Yeah, it looks like it's sat down.
That looks like a long tail. And again, how close up is this? But that could be a cat. As daft as it sounds, because you can see the tail coming off. It's not. Can everybody see that?
You can't.
Can't they see it on that one?
Yeah.
Can't they see arrow?
No, they can see it on that one.
Right. So can you see tail? You know, to me, that looks like the tail. Or a belt.
It's got a big tail.
Yeah, but it does look like a belt or something. It looks like somebody's actually crouched, and that's like the belt off the coat, as daft as it sounds.
Doggy having a wee or a
it could be a dog. Do you know, that could be a dog having a poop, to be fair. It could be. But yeah, I think the Russian sightings are interesting.
Sharing it, you know.
Sharing what?
That photograph.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, we'll have, in fact, Yo-Yo, I think what we'll do, we'll look into doing Russian ones. We'll have a look at Russian sightings because they don't actually get paid like Yo-Yo says, and probably mocked for their claims. They might be, they might not be. They might be, if people know they're going to get paid, then they're going to, but for people that are genuine, because you've got genuine, like interesting people and interested people in all different unexplained phenomena. And for me, you can't believe in one without believing in all of them, because it just your brain wouldn't allow you to do that.
We've got other cryptids we want to do, and then we want to move on to UFOs. Yeah,
we're going to do a UFO one, sightings of UFOs and stuff. So it's cryptoids first, and then we're going to move on to UFOs.
Yeah, they were the fairies. They were, what were it called?
Yeah, I mean, they'll come under. I think, well, would bring fairies under cryptoids, or would that be more fun? Elementals.
Elementals or
might be
fae.
Yeah, elementals, fae. We can cover a little bit of that one. That's not a problem. I know we've done bits on that in past, so yeah, it'd be really interesting to actually get sightings and stories from people as well out there. Because again, I believe in elementals. I believe in the fae, because you can't not. It's just silly. But yeah, so
Cottingley fair, as it were.
That would prove to be fake, though. That this one here, we'll tell the story about this on another live. But they were actually proved to be fakes. He'd done him for his granddaughter, or his granddaughter, whichever. But yeah, that one they were fakes. But then you've got others that are saying that they're genuine photos. So you just got to remember, just because you might not believe in everything, but being respectful to other people's views or beliefs is a big part, because that's the way you build a communication system up. We don't have to agree, but we don't have to be rude, do we? So I think we're going to end it there, guys. We're going to go and have a cup of tea. I think I'll do members tomorrow night instead of coming on main. Tomorrow night we'll be on members only. So we'll be live about 8 o'clock on members. So we'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you in the morning. about 9:30
We're
on.
on to Gaming Channel for an hour.
Are you going to go on Gaming Channel? John's going to go on Gaming Channel. I'm going to be live in morning about 9:30 UK time. Well, I'll say between 9:30 and 10 o'clock UK time, and I'm going to be doing some tarot readings, free tarot readings. Might do oracle readings, might do book of answers, might do a little bit of a mishmash in the morning. I have a very open mind. The world is a huge place. There is more, has to be more. We discover new species of life all the time. So some of these creatures could exist. I totally agree, Claire. So it's good night from me.
From me.
Love you loads, guys. Take care. Thank you so much for all your stars, super chats, everything. Thank you so much. Muchly appreciated.
Peace, guys. Take care.
Bye.